Why any two-factor is better than no two-factor. Hi everyone, this is Leo Notenboom for askleo.com. It's pushback that I've gotten in recent years about two-factor authentication. I actually had someone say that because they had read a headline that one of the forms of two-factor authentication had been hacked, that two-factor wasn't useful anymore. They couldn't be more wrong. So what I want to do is go over some of the various kinds of two-factor authentication that we're using these days, then talk about how each of them can indeed be compromised, and then why it doesn't matter and you should be using them anyway. So the most common approach to two-factor authentication is probably SMS. When you sign into your account with your username and your password, that account then sends you a text message to the phone number associated with that account. That text message contains a number. Your ability to provide that number proves you are in possession of your second factor, the phone that is associated with that phone number. Another approach to two-factor, and indeed my preferred approach, is the Google Authenticator. When you use the Google Authenticator, when you set up your two-factor authentication, a cryptographic relationship is set up between your account and the Google Authenticator app. The app starts displaying a 6-digit number that changes every 30 seconds. That is unique to your relationship, that phone's relationship to the service that you set it up on. The number looks random, but is absolutely not. What happens then is you sign in with your username and password. You are then requested to enter the 6-digit number that is currently being displayed by the Google Authenticator app. Your ability to enter the correct number proves you are in possession of your second factor, the Google Authenticator app that has the setup relationship to your account. A third approach is something that we probably run across often. That is simply email. Same scenario. You sign in with your username and your password, and the service then asks you to either click a link in email that they sent you or enter a code from the email that they just sent you. Your ability to do one or the other of those two things prove you are in possession of your second factor. That second factor is your ability to access your email account, the email that's associated as the second factor for your account. Another form of two-factor authentication uses a hardware key. This is a YubiKey that is a USB device that, when you set it up, is cryptographically associated with your account. Then, when it comes time to sign in, you once again enter your username and your password, and you are then instructed to insert this and, depending on the specific device, potentially press the little button that's on the USB key. Your ability to do that proves that you're in possession of your second factor, the physical key. Now, how do these things get exploited? Well, I will tell you that this one, the key, is really hard to exploit. It's very hard to get by. The worst thing that can happen, I suppose, is that the key itself gets physically stolen, which is, that can happen. Now, the others, however, have different ways of being exploited. For example, Google Authenticator, and indeed even email-based second factor, are typically subject to phishing attacks. They're vulnerable to phishing attacks. But the phishing attacks generally have to happen in close to real time. What that means is a hacker is trying to access your account. As part of that, the account service asks them for the two-factor code. They then perform some kind of real-time interaction with you to get you to hand over the code. That could be the code that was just sent to you in email. That could be the code that is currently displayed on your Google Authenticator or something else. Their ability to fool you into giving them the code is one way for them to bypass two-factor authentication because they're using two-factor authentication. And no doubt once they get in, they'll turn off two-factor authentication so that they can continue to access the account without your needing to be involved. The one that I think most people are uncomfortable with is SMS, because what happens with SMS is something called SIM swapping. The SIM is the device or the card actually that usually identifies your phone number to the phone system. What happens is the hacker will call the phone company, pretend to be you, indicate that you've lost your phone and now have a replacement and need your phone number moved to that other phone. Once they're successful, they now get all of your SMS text messages. That's a problem, because that way they in fact have the ability to intercept and just receive your two-factor authentication codes if they are sent via SMS. The reason that this isn't as big a deal as many people think it is that it's just not as big a deal. It's not happening rampantly. It is not something that normal people, average people, really need to be concerned about. Think about it. The hacker needs to know your phone number. They need to fool your phone company, and they need to basically target you specifically. Yes, if you are a high-profile individual, this is something that you probably want to take some extra steps to avoid running into. But for normal people, for average people, SMS is just fine. You are not going to get hacked via SMS. Many people consider SMS two-factor authentication to be the weakest link. And I can't argue. All of the approaches to bypassing or hacking two-factor authentication are extremely unlikely. But if one were to happen, I'd guess SMS-based would happen first. But it's not the weakest link. The weakest link is not having two-factor at all. Think about it. With two-factor enabled, you have to provide your password and the second factor. Yep, that's an additional barrier you or a hacker would need to jump over. Generally, the hackers don't have your second factor, so they can't get in, even if they have your password. Without two-factor authentication, here's everything you need to get in. Your password. That's it. By not having two-factor authentication of any sort enabled on your account, you have made it easier for hackers to compromise your account. Yep, two-factor authentication ain't perfect. There's nothing that is perfect, but it adds an additional barrier, an additional layer of effort that the hackers need to take if they want to target you specifically. With two-factor authentication, you are protected from a variety of compromises that without two-factor authentication, you're completely vulnerable to. Any two-factor authentication, SMS, Google Authenticator, hardware key, email, they're all better and more secure than not having two-factor at all. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/70786. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.